Doc here for DetroitBeardCollective.com, Detroit's premier grooming company. Visit DetroitBeardCollective.com if your beard is feeling dry, scaly, if you need to maintain your beard. This day and age, there's products out there that helps you take care of your beard. Beard butters will make your beard feel softer, better smelling than ever before. The Doc actually rocked a beard earlier this spring and summer, and I actually used the beard butter. And the first time I ever used a product to take care of my face, I heard that Adam was into styling, and I'm like, you know what? Let me take care of myself. So I went to DetroitBeardCollective.com and bought the beard butter. My face actually does feel smoother. I definitely checked out the products at the Detroit Beard Collective. They got great t-shirts, oils, the ultra-popular Beard Crate, which is a wide assortment of a bunch of different Detroit Beard Collective products. So definitely support those who support us, DetroitBeardCollective.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Freddie Cohen of ESPN Radio. When I'm not talking about breaking news or breaking news on ESPN Radio, I'm always a fan and listen to the Detroit Sports Podcast, and so should you.
Often imitated, never duplicated, Detroit's top talent sitting right here in our Sterling Heights studios. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for downloading another episode of the Doc and Jock Detroit Sports Podcast. I am the Doc, John Macaroon. Joining me, fresh off a trip to Las Vegas over the weekend, my cousin, Adam, the Jock Strozinski. What's up, cuz?
Dude, I only came back to this joint for you. That's how much I love you. That's how much I love this podcast.
Oh my
Otherwise,
God.
I'd be hanging out in Vegas right now. Broads everywhere, booties and boobies shaking. I'd been spending dollar bills. I'd been at the cards. What time is it right now? It's like, dude, I'd be rolling out of bed, going down playing some blackjack, probably getting housed on the sports bets because I'm really bad at the parlay apparently. But oh my God, just because of you, I'm back here sitting across from your goofy mug.
Now, you know we got a lot of nonsense to talk about with our Detroit Lions, the Detroit Tigers, always this interesting news that's been coming out.
The best part is everybody laughs at you when you're a Lions fan. They ask you straight up, are you a Lions fan? And you say yes. And then they sit there and they giggle and smirk.
Why?
Mean, we are awful. We are horrible. We get no respect anywhere.
The best part about watching sports in Las Vegas is the game starts at 5:30, ends at 8:30. You can kind of decompress a little bit, get out and about 9:30, have a nice dinner, and party the night away. Good
the only
stuff.
bad thing is you wake up at like 10, and you got to have either your fantasy lineup in and checked, or you got to get everything situated so you can either be in front of a TV or have some sort of way to see the game, and you're usually nursing a pretty heavy hangover from the night before. You get like no time there. None whatsoever.
So I give you credit. You put your money where your mouth was. You bet Denver -3 against the Lions. And it was close early on, and it was 17-12 in the fourth quarter. Were you a little bit nervous that it wasn't going to work out?
No.
Yeah.
Did you watch that game?
No, yeah.
Did you watch that game? Come on.
All the way through.
No, not at all. I was like, this is going to be fine. Had no concerns whatsoever about that game. The Lions.
You had no trepidation dropping $100, Denver -3. Why didn't you bet more?
You know what? I should have. I really should have.
Yeah, knowing that you played blackjack the night before, maybe got down a couple $100. You know, the idea is like in blackjack, if you're losing, you double down what you've lost. So why didn't you drop 200 -3?
Yeah,
Denver?
I really wish I would have dropped 600 on that Denver game. But it was early. It was kind of, that was Sunday. The game was Sunday night. It was kind of early in the trip there. I didn't want to sit there, and I didn't want that hanging over my head if I lost that much money on it. So I just wanted to go, and I wanted to have a good time with it. I put put $100 down and just kind of keep it moving. It was one of those things. It was just...
Was it 100? You won 180? You took 185?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was because the money line was 120, so I ended up getting 100. It was like 183 and some change. It's like $184 I ended up winning or getting back.
So then, like most Vegas gamblers, you try to up your winnings and go into those 3-team parlays. I never liked parlays.
Well,
I'm never successful.
I wanted to do a parlay in the afternoon, but I ended up waking up too late Sunday morning, and I couldn't bet on any of the 1 o'clock games. So it was all 4 o'clock games, and they were kind of like, Like, it was just, I wasn't really feeling anything. I didn't have the gusto to go or the balls to sit there and put the money on them. So I sat there and I waited. I took some of the winnings, turned around, did a $50 parlay, and that just ended all sorts of bad. Took Green Bay in the under, dumb. Took the Rangers to win the game, dumb, because Verlander was pitching. And the only thing that really worked out in my favor was I took Green Bay in the win. So
no
it
dice.
was so bad.
And sounds like your adventures at the blackjack table didn't go all that well either.
No, I didn't hit. I had a good time though.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I didn't sit there and I didn't get my butt handed to me. But at the same time, I didn't sit there and make bank. So it was all good, man. It was a great trip. It was a lot of fun. I didn't want to come home. The only reason I did was because of you, because I was going to sit there and stay probably another 3-4 days. And
listen, you could always phone in, take an hour. You could be like, hey, I'm doing a podcast by the pool.
Yeah.
Now tell me, you could be at the Cosmo pool, the Bellagio pool. Listen, we could have done some like Periscope action. It's okay. Trust me. It's more than okay. I got you.
I wouldn't feel right, man. I wouldn't feel right. I got to be here. I got to be staring across from you. I got to be looking at you, dude. That's what has to happen.
Dude, seriously, is it too much to ask for Stafford to throw a 5-touchdown game? Is it like too much to ask? Am I being selfish? Am I being selfish?
Can you throw a 3-touchdown game? Come on. No, you're not being selfish. I think you're being ridiculous. There's a difference. There's a huge difference.
It always seems like after a shitty Lions offensive performance, then you get down, you relax, you watch a Monday night game, and Aaron Rodgers just like ding, ding, ding. Randall Cobb.
You could have had?
You see what? Yeah, number one pick. Can't throw the touchdown pass, can't consistently beat teams with winning records. And people are still supporting him, saying it's the offensive line's problem. Yes, it is the offensive line's problem, but, friends of the podcast, Josh Katzenstein's putting pictures up on his Twitter page where Calvin Johnson's corner is 12 yards back, and they're not making the proper adjustments. Yes, Matthew Stafford has no time to throw. The offense is in complete disarray, but it would be nice, maybe once, just to call in a favor to the football gods. Monday Night Football, go to Seattle and shut those losers up and go out there and click on all cylinders. I'm not going to ask for this team to win 10, 11 games, just once. We're going to watch great football all Sunday, all Monday. The college football schedule is up. Just once, I'm going to pray to the football gods that Matthew Stafford outshines Russell Wilson, that the 12th man sits on their asses all game long, that Amir Abdullah does something on the national stage.
Dude, they got to give him the ball. He gets like 8 touches a game. He's your number one running back. He's probably your most lethal weapon coming either out of the backfield or just on the offensive side of the ball. I'm willing to debate you that Amir Abdullah is a better talent than Calvin Johnson at this stage in his career. And you don't give him the ball? You need to force feed that guy. You've seen what they did with Adrian Peterson. They came out in that Minnesota game, and the Vikings just gave Adrian Peterson the ball time after time after time after time until he finally got going. You don't give Amir Abdullah enough touches. So how do you want him to go? Where do you want him to go? It's not going to happen.
The problem with giving the ball is the offensive line's not blocking enough to give him too much time to get. You're looking at 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8. There were very few situations where it's 3rd and short in that game versus Denver.
Look, Joe Lombardi needs to come up with something more creative. He's got to do something with these play calls. You have to design some type of a scheme to get your best players the ball, all right? And whether that be Golden Tate, Calvin Johnson, or Amir Abdullah, you got to get them the ball. I don't care if you're force feeding the ball. I don't think you care if you're throwing into double and triple coverage. You've got talent on this team, especially at those skilled positions. Golden Tate is an amazing talent. You get the guy the ball and watch him sit there and just get yards after the catch. That's what he does. That's his go-to move, right? If this was like Mortal Kombat and Sub-Zero's go-to move is his Ice Blast or Scorpion and his little get over here hook, Golden Tate's is catch the ball in space and then get upfield. Calvin Johnson is to go deep, take the top off the defense, as Randy Moss says, and go up into double and triple coverage and come down with the ball. Amir Abdullah, you sit there and you throw him the ball in the backfield and you watch him go. You're not going to run him between the tackles. He can do it, but you're not going to. It's not what he does that's so special. The guy sits there and he catches the ball on a sweep and he gets downfield 15, 20 yards and he makes the second tier of the defense miss. That's what they do that's special. Joe Lombardi has done nothing creative, does nothing to sit there and help put these guys in a better position, and does nothing to exploit what the offense can do so well. Instead, he makes his defenses look good. It's awful. Absolutely horrible. And Adam, you're absolutely correct. This is bad.
And the talk right after the game has been vicious. You had the national commentators basically laughing at the offense, wondering why, being down what they were throwing 5-yard outs. You had them laughing and discussing like, wow, the crowd in this game wasn't into it. If you watched that game, did you see any Denver false starts? The moniker of a home game with the Lions is loud, passionate fans. Coming into that game 0-2 deflated the fans, and maybe half of them were all sloshed, partying all day long, and not really caring anymore about the team. But right now it sucks because at this point in time in the season, being 0-3, we have to hope they win, and the belief is now gone that this team can win football games. You have to hope, and that sucks sitting here just after 3 games, knowing that your team isn't that talented enough, isn't scheming right, and then your players are going on radio stations and telling the audience, the listening audience, the fans here in Detroit, that opponents are clowning you. Golden Tate's lining up, and guys are like, oh, we know what's coming. Slant right, 5 yards, boom. Running play. To add on, people are like, oh, he said this? It spread out nationally. And then the other players are like, yeah, Drew Brees came out and was like, oh, when we played them last year, I knew 95% of the sets.
Yeah.
We played them Monday night again down the line this year.
Joe Lombardi does nothing to sit there and put this team in a winning position.
That's bad. That's a bad indictment.
Seriously, at this point, Jim Caldwell needs to step in and has to do something. He has to take over play calling, or he has to get Joe Lombardi out of here. Joe Lombardi is killing this football team. Yes, I know this defense isn't doing them any favors, but going into this season, the one thing we talked about, because we knew the defense was going to take a step back. We knew it. It had to, right? I mean, you lost arguably the second best defensive player in the league right now with Ndamukong Suh. You lose him, defense is going to take a step back. Well, the one thing we said is if we can get a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense, this team will be competitive. We have not even a top 30 defense, right? What are they? Are they 32 at this point? Come on, they're horrible. So that offense has to elevate. It has to raise its game. And it's not done it. If anything, it's regressed as well. So now you have 2 horrible sides of the ball there, and that's why you're losing. That's why you can't win games.
And in the preseason, remember, we would laugh and say Stafford not in the top 10 quarterbacks, top 15, last ranking Pro Football Focus, dead last. How you like that? Dead last.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense. I mean, there was that stat that was kicked around where I think he's like, I think he's 30th when he's facing a rush. The guy is horrible under pressure, doesn't make good decisions, and I mean, look,
we're gonna visit Stafford in a few minutes. We got to talk about it for sure.
If somebody's blocking for you, if you get a decent line that blocks for you and buys you 7 to 10 seconds, I've had both my shoulders reconstructed. I could throw a football. I could make completions. And I have ligaments made out of bubble gum at this point. So I mean, come on, let's be serious here.
Now, to your point about Caldwell. He's not at any point in this year going to step in and call plays.
He has to.
I know, but look what happens. That's an embarrassment to the offensive coordinator. And it's been done before in the league. But if Caldwell's the one making the calls, then what do you need Lombardi for? He would have to be fired. And I don't think...
And that's fine. Fire him.
They're not going to do that.
Okay, so you're going to tell me that if Jim Caldwell's job is on the line, which it's not come out that it is, and probably isn't the way that the Lions do things, but if this was a good organization... His ass should be on the hot seat. There should be conversations going on about who's going to replace him, who's going to step in, who's going to correct this, who's going to right this ship. Terrell Austin should be having some type of backdoor conversation saying, hey, we know that you were looked upon as being a really good head coach last year. We understand that, the defense was top 2 in the league last year and you had Ndamukong Suh and things were going good and things are kind of, it's like a shit sandwich right now. But do you think there's something you might be able to do? Do you think you can do something? Because let's be honest, Joe Lombardi, the only reason he's getting a pass is because of his last name. The only reason he got the damn job is because of his last name. The guy has done nothing over the course of 2 years to demonstrate any type of football knowledge and any wealth of being able to run a football team, much less an offense. He's horrible right now. Horrible. I just sat there and I named 3 players to you that are considered, I don't want to say special, but are considered at least elite level talent in this game. I mean, Golden Tate doesn't drop footballs. That's his calling card, right? He catches the ball and he gets upfield. That's what he does best. Kelvin Johnson may go down as one of the greatest receivers of all time. And you said it, I've said it. National pundits have come out and said it. Amir Abdullah is special. He is special. He has this unique balance of speed, being able to catch the ball, making you miss, and being able to sit there and take a hit and run through the tackles and get you yards. Get these guys the football. Get them the ball. That's what you have to do. Most offenses, I understand it's not Madden, but most offenses would run like a high-powered machine with a guy who can sit there and go deep, a guy who can run mid routes, and a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield. I mean, most offenses With a quarterback who has a power arm, most offenses could do a lot of good things, and they're just not doing it. And Joe Lombardi has the creativity of freaking Tecmo Bowl, not even Super Tecmo Bowl. He's got the creativity of Tecmo Bowl. If he had Bo Jackson, he would sit there and run him up and down the field, zigzagging, trying to score a touchdown. And the thing is, he would end up running out of bounds.
Man, because the offense has taken a step back. The offense is worse than we even thought. The offense is so bad that the talk is everyone knows the plays. There's no creativity. Golden Tate is waiting until today or potentially Thursday when this podcast airs to have a meeting with Stafford. As soon as that game ended, there should have been an offensive unit closed-door meeting talking about what the hell are we doing? 12 points? 12 points versus Denver? And you left points on the field. You didn't play well in front of the home crowd. You left everybody basically deflated. This is taking way too long to fix. After 3 games, the Lions' offense has regressed, and it looks now to be something that maybe can't be fixed. It looks like something that when you go out there, that Stafford is lost and is running a system that he can't handle, that is not tailored to his strengths, that makes him look worse. And now we have to have a talk about, do you let Stafford continue to run this offense, dink and dunk, be ultra conservative, not throw the ball deep, or what can you add during the course of a season? These things should, you know what I mean? These things should be straightened out by game 1. Game 1, this offense should be purring like a kitten, and it's not. The answers aren't coming quick. It's very deflating, and it's tough to watch. It's boring. It's very boring. Vinny didn't even make it through halftime. He was out there trying to, date his girlfriend.
Oh, God. Please say no. Here's the deal. Matt Stafford is your best chance to win the game. Agreed or disagree?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Because Dan Orlovsky's not going to do it. And it'd be terrifying if Dan Orlovsky was actually underneath center calling plays. At some point, whether it be Jim Caldwell, Joe Lombardi, Jim Bob Cooter, Matt Stafford himself, Golden Tate, Calvin Johnson, Amir Abdullah, somebody has to sit there and has to raise a voice and say, look, what we're doing isn't working. It's obvious. I mean, at certain points, this defense has almost outscored this offense. That's how bad this season has gone thus far.
Because 134 yards rushing total in 3 games.
That's
embarrassing.
Awful.
Horrid.
I think Jamal Charles had that in a half. I mean, come on. Somebody has to say something. Somebody has to raise an alarm to reevaluate what is going on this offense. And I don't think Joe Lombardi has the mental capacity or the wherewithal to be able to do this right now. I think that Jim Caldwell has to step in, has to take more of a hands-on approach with this offense, has to run this, and has to tailor it to fit Matt Stafford. We talked about it last week. Matt Stafford, the one thing he does best is he utilizes his power arm. He throws the ball down the field. I mean, start spreading this field, start stretching the field. Let Amir Abdullah sit there and basically pick up the flats and get the ball in space there. Let Golden Tate run some mid routes and let Calvin Johnson do what he does best and just go deep. I mean, I know the guy doesn't have the speed like he used to have 5 years ago, but the guy still is a genetic freakazoid. I mean, he's like 6'5". He's huge. The average height of your average corner and your average safety is anywhere from 5'8" to 5'11". I mean, I generally look tall to some of these guys, and I'm a very short dude. You're shorter than me. I mean, and you're sitting there and you're coming right underneath the bar, dude. So throw the ball deep. Let Calvin take the top off. Let Golden Tate run through the middle. You know what I'm saying? This doesn't strike me as being rocket science. Football is I understand it's a very difficult game. And when you have a coach like Coach Belichick, some of the schemes and some of the things he can draw up look like they could be rocket science because they're that complex. But really what we're talking about here isn't that big of a deal. It's not that hard. You just have to be a little bit creative and utilize the talent that you have. I just don't think Joe Lombardi is able to do that. I think it's not his forte. He's a quarterback guy. He sits there, he's like, hey, this is what you got to do to get in shape. This is what you got to do to throw the ball. These are some things that we can work on, and that's what he does. Him being an offensive coordinator, I think it's outside of his realm.
Now, because of this, a whole branch of jokes, a whole branch of things that are being talked about. You have people talking about, next year, can Harbaugh coach Michigan and the Lions? What's going to happen? A serious point, though, at this point in time, 7 years in, Stafford is in the first year of the 3-year extension. And I know I talked about it and tried to throw it out there to trade him, but the way this line is constructed, all my mind thinks is you need a running quarterback because Stafford is a drop back guy. He ain't getting the time to survey the field. I think he's so discombobulated. He's doing what he's told. His ability to get into the right pass protections has totally been shot. If you're Matthew Stafford, why stay here? Why endure this at this point in time in your career? You know you have talent. The league respects you. Everyone that comes out says nice, glowing things about you. Next year, the Lions are going to have to decide: do we extend this guy, or what can we do?
Oh, they will.
Yeah,
they will.
It should not happen.
No,
it should not happen.
No.
It's time. I'm done.
Yeah, and here's the thing: whether it be Matt Stafford, whether it be the offense, whether it be the coordinators, whether it just be an inability to sit there and do what you need to do, Matt Stafford over the course of 7 years hasn't demonstrated that he deserves another extension. He hasn't. I don't care that he's gotten you to the playoffs twice. Big deal. Russell Wilson's won you a championship in less time.
Because number 1 pick, Matthew Stafford, arguably best quarterback that the Lions have ever had. Calvin Johnson, arguably one of the best wide receivers. You can't sniff a playoff win. I can't, my mind is going in 50 different directions. What else do we need? Another number 1? I mean, we are in a situation where you had top picks, and if we can't get a couple playoff wins out of this generation, we're looking at another 5 to 6 years. And I know people and radio hosts around town are doing shows about what are the rules to be Lions free. I can't be Lions free, but I don't know how much more. My gas tank is on a quarter tank and going down. I don't know what to do to fill it back up. Maybe a win versus Seattle does it. I don't know, because I'm kind of in that shock mode. I know that they're not that good. I've seen what they can do, but I don't know. I'm trying to find ways to rev up my energy to get back on this team's bandwagon, but it's too hard, man. We're 0-3. We're looking at 0-4. We're looking at 0-5. You're praying that you can beat the Bears, and you never know, Jimmy Clausen might rise up versus us, but we're staring 0-5 in the face, bro.
I know.
And we talked about it, but now the way we've played it, it's even worse.
Here's the thing. They might even lose to the Bears. And the Bears are awful right now. Bears are horrendous. Jay Cutler may be back by that time, and he's got no problem throwing the ball deep, and he's got no problem throwing the ball all over the field. I mean, I know a lot of the times it goes to the opposite color jersey that he's wearing, and that's fine. It's Jay Cutler, and it's what he does. But that team could be getting healthy in a hurry. Elshon Jeffrey could be back. Jay Cutler could be back. There's a real good possibility this team doesn't sniff a win until they play the Vikings again, and that's at home. That's the very next game. And if they lose that game, you're then looking at possibly going against the Raiders to get a W, and the Raiders all of a sudden look like a good team.
Is it wrong maybe to start thinking that, hell, if we're going to have a horrendous season, just go all the way and have a 2-3 win season, get another 1 or 2 pick? The problem is that's what you should think if you're going to have a bad year, but you don't trust Martin Mayhew to get the right guy.
Yeah, I don't trust him with the pick. He bones too many early draft picks.
You could have had Taylor Lewan and Aaron Donald on this team.
Yeah, I know.
You could have had.
How different would it look? How different?
And you talk to people and they say the same thing. You need to stockpile linemen so that you don't have a turnover like this, because the Lions are not capable of restocking players. That's what's going to happen. So what you're going to have with the Mayhew regime is one good year, 10, 11 wins, a terrible year the next year, maybe another decent year. But that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a consistent improvement, steady progress. We're not getting that because the guy that's drafting is not finding the guys that are going to consistently help this team. Laken Tomlinson is not ready, and maybe he will be in a couple years. With his spot, we needed a guy to be productive. And I know it's a 28th pick, but you could have had a guy that could have been more productive. And it just is disappointing right now where it's at. It's all around disappointing with the Lions. And we're all struggling to find positives. The one positive, okay, is Amir Abdullah. The one positive is we have quote-unquote talent, but it's a jumbled mess. The puzzle pieces, you can't fit it together. Whatever you try to do, you super glue it, it falls apart. There is no fix for this team other than cleaning house.
Do you realize we've had 3 games this season, and we've just ran through the gambit of Lions emotions? We've annihilated the offensive coordinator. We've annihilated the entire defense. We've annihilated the head coach. We are now taking shots at the front office and calling them into question and wanting them fired. In 3 weeks, we've gone from being at the mountaintop talking about how this team has a shot at the playoffs and possibly winning a playoff game to now sitting there and blowing the entire thing up, looking to get a new quarterback, looking to get a new offensive line, which was just retooled.
It's not that they're losing, because we all said 8-8.
It's the way they're losing.
It's the way they're losing.
It's the way they're losing. No, that's exactly it, and that's exactly what it is all the time. Because I can handle Matt Stafford sitting there, and I can handle him having bad games, because I understand that he might not be the best at reading coverages and might not be the best at picking apart a defense. But in the course of a 33-28 Chargers loss, the course of a 26-16 Vikings loss, the course of a 24-12 Broncos loss, I would expect to see flashes, something that looked good. And the thing is, they haven't played good football in over 10 quarters. Not since the second half of the second quarter of the very first game have they played solid football. Yeah. They've looked like complete garbage.
They look like a death blow. And
they look like what was coming out of me after drinking beer and shots all night and playing blackjack in Vegas that freaking Sunday morning when I'm just sitting there clenching my knees, holding them in my chest.
Now, you're not the same. Ain't there no better sound than cocktails? And you know that you don't got to give nothing but $1 tip.
Oh, dude, it's
cocktails.
Great. It's great.
It's great.
It's great. And you sit there and you got an ace and a king staring at you.
Nice.
Nothing's better.
Yeah, it's nice. And the ladies out there, how are the ladies at you said at the Luxor, right? How are
they? Where we stayed at, yeah.
How are the cocktail waitresses there?
They were all right. They weren't too bad. New York's was pretty good. And I think, I mean, this is the thing, right? So the Excalibur's a complete shithole. Yeah. Right? I'm gonna be honest with you. It's awful. But this is the thing. The Castle ain't pretty, what she puts out, man. But we had probably our best luck at the Castle and probably some of the better looking cocktail waitresses at that dumpster.
Gotcha.
So It was great. It was good. Probably some of the best looking ladies, though, on the strip at Caesars. Mm-hmm. At Caesars and probably at Aria.
For sure.
And yeah, that was really nice. The whole little area right down in between by the Flamingo and Harrah's, they just redid that whole entire strip right there. It's outstanding. I was really impressed. It looks incredible. You could go down that little strip and get lost for about 3 hours.
Okay, one final question about Vegas. Did one of those short little Mexicans give Lorraine one of those pamphlets?
You know it. You know it.
I have pamphlet for you.
You know it.
Special pamphlet.
Here's the thing, though. It wasn't what we expected, because normally last time I went, it was like you had to walk through a barrage of them. Every time you turn around, you're getting hit with pamphlets, right? It was almost like a football player running through the tackling dummies. Not like that. It was a small Hispanic dude, and he was like, I have pamphlet, and that was it. He just kind of like walked by, and she took it, because I was like, you got to take that. And she was like, what is it? I was like, just take it. So she took it.
Why?
And she kept walking. Well, because she had to experience it. Duh. So she took it, kept walking, and she was like, what is this? And I was like, oh.
You're a tick.
Yes, I am. It said something. It said sensual massages. They had some Asian chick on it. And I was like, oh, look, you can go get a sensual massage. She's like, I don't want this shit. She threw it down. She was so upset. It was great.
Yeah, the best part of like walking the strip is they're all over the floor, like just these little business cards of like seductive women. It's so funny.
Oh, yeah.
I got to get back to Vegas. It's been about 5 years for me.
Yeah, you need to go.
Yeah, every 5 years you got to get out there.
You gonna get a sensual massage?
No sensual massages.
Put some of that oil on your head and rub that. Give you a little scalp massage, and then put some oil on that other head and rub that for you.
When you're the doc, you just call the VIP concierge and be like, $50 and everything's taken care of. They know what I want before I even want it.
Right. $50 and the back rub's free, huh?
There you go.
That's right.
Repeat customer, VIP. Oh man, we got to talk about these Lions. Oh, it's tough. Let's before we take a break and get on to the rest of the podcast. Mm-hmm. So Golden Tate comes out and he stirs the waves and causes a bunch of commotion based on what he said. Now, you and I have said, and I've now said, I don't like guys being PC. I love the fact that Golden Tate is out there and he's saying different things, but looking at it at both sides, did he throw the organization under the bus in that he just said that, hey, they know our stuff? He basically put Joe Lombardi in the crosshairs, knowing that the offense is predictable, knowing that there aren't too many wrinkles that are getting by the defensive coordinators in the league. Was it the right thing to do for him to do that?
Yeah, I think he's trying to save this team. He's trying to save his season right now. By calling out Joe Lombardi, he's forcing you and everybody else to take a real critical look at what he's doing and the plays he's calling. He's saying, hey, this stuff's not creative enough. Our schemes are getting picked up. Our tendencies are picked up. Everybody knows what's coming at them because our offensive coordinator has the brain capacity of a cardboard box right now. Puffin stuff can do a better job calling plays right now, and Joe Lombardi's just not getting the job done. So whether or not he's got to go back and reevaluate his play, his playbook, his scheme, whatever he's trying to work on, or Jim Caldwell has to step up and has to take over some play calling duties, or has to be a little bit more stringent with what he's allowing Joe Lombardi to do. Something has to change. Something has to change because obviously through the first 3 weeks, It's not working. It's not even close to working. They look dreadful. So it's got to get better if they want to improve. I mean, you do realize that you basically went from losing a game by 5 points to then losing a game by 10 points to losing a game by 12 points. So next on the list is Seattle in Seattle on Monday nights.
It's going to be bad.
Exactly. I mean, if this keeps up, you're going to get smoked during this game by almost 18 points.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
But the good news is now, a little bit of talk, 50%. Marshawn Lynch might not be in the game. But, dude, look for Fred Jackson to come out and just tear it up. He must be like, oh, my God, this is heaven.
Fragile Freddy's a beast, dude.
Yeah.
Watch out. Fragile Freddy's going to have a hell of a game.
You know who's going to have a hell of a game?
Baldwin's going to go off.
One guy.
Jimmy Graham's going to just
That's the guy.
beast. You know why? You know why?
Because we don't know how to
We
cover
can't
that.
cover a tight end.
It's going to be bad. And
You seen it with Mercedes Lewis. Mercedes freaking Lewis. He's garbage and he plays for Jacksonville. Mercedes Lewis ate us up during the preseason.
If Jimmy Graham has less than 2 touchdowns and 80 yards, I would be surprised.
I think maybe I should trade one of these running backs I have for Jimmy Graham this week. I know a guy who was looking to unload Jimmy Graham.
My goodness. I can imagine if you had Aaron Rodgers and Larry Fitzgerald and Jamal Charles, you could have been in the top 3. And I don't know if you could fit down to the cap. I got to look more into this one-day fantasy thing. I think that might cap you out.
Are you getting blown up at all, like through your email or through your text messages for these things?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Dude, my phone, since I've been in Vegas, all of a sudden it started like on Sunday night. I've just been inundated every 2 hours with a text message or an email. I finally like unsubscribed and was like, please don't ever send me anything ever again. It's been awful.
Now, did you hear, what's his name? Scott Van Pelt kind of came out and said, this is gambling.
It is gambling.
It is gambling. But if you're a host on ESPN and they're pumping money into your company, that's your livelihood. Even if you know it's gambling, and
I
we all
applaud
talk.
Scott Van Pelt for this.
I don't think you should have said that.
Oh no, I applaud it.
I think you're killing the golden goose.
No.
I mean,
no, dude. Here's the deal.
if you're put yourself in the other shoes, if you're FanDuel and DraftKings and you're pumping all this money,
I'm
like,
pissed
what
off
the
about
hell?
it. Right, I'm pissed off about it. Right, but at the same point, right? If I am Scott Van Pelt, or if I'm a consumer of what he's selling or what he does, that guy is sitting there. He's telling you the truth. He's giving you the God's honest truth. He's having a real heart-to-heart conversation with you. And he's sitting, nothing is more important than his word and his credibility. So he just cemented himself and his credibility. So I think, if anything, that bolsters his appeal now to not just the masses, but to the people other marketers who are looking to sit there and sell a product. Because if Scott Van Pelt endorses it, it's got that extra stamp of credibility because he just went against the man in the system, saying, hey, look, I know we've got DraftKings, FanDuel, your mom's in the basement selling you a online fantasy one-day league, all this crap going on, right? So I'm telling you it's gambling. It's gambling. You need to take a real good look at this. And I'm speaking from the heart here. This is how it goes down.
But see, now, here's how the wheels got to start turning then. Okay, now you've put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know who's watching it from the government. Now, with online poker, in the past, there were these online poker sites that were out there. They got shut down. Boom. They were running. Everything was going on. Then there was Black Friday, April 15th, several years back. They shut it down. So I don't think because of the scope of these one-day sites and the amount of commerce and money they're putting into the system that they're going to shut it down. But you don't want the government on your ass. So Scott Van Pelt bringing this up also brings to the legalities of, hey, the government says that online gambling isn't legal. So by putting it out there, you're also putting in the wheels of motion for this to be cut off. So that's why I was against it. I think it was, something to talk about, maybe on a radio show, maybe on an outside the lines type thing. But on your prominent show, SportsCenter, I don't think you need to be talking about that. Especially one-day fantasy is really cool. It adds another level of excitement. So that's interesting.
I don't know. I'm all for it. Here's the deal, right? I come from the universe of free speech and free thought, and what you feel, you just go out and say it. I mean, that's what works so great about our show, right? I lose my mind. I come on here. I just tell you how it is. Sometimes you got to rein me back in to get me back on track because I've just gone totally off the charts here. He was just speaking his mind, man. He's telling you what he thinks. And you know what? If it ruffles feathers, even better. Because you know what? This is what just happened, right? And this is what FanDuel and DraftKings and all them have to think about. So Scott Van Pelt just sat there and went off and said this. It gained national traction. We just now talked about it for 15 minutes on our show. And we don't really ever talk about fantasy football in the one-day leagues on our show. We'll talk about our fantasy, our teams, and how, I beat the crap out of you because you suck. But other than that, we don't really talk about our fantasy leagues and fantasy football all that much.
Right.
So, I mean, it just, you know what I'm saying? We have a completely different audience than what's going on with ESPN, what's going on with FanDuel. So, I mean, it just broadened that audience. So you got to look at it. There's always two sides of the coin.
So, speaking of guys that speak their mind, Golden Tate is a guy that is speaking his mind. You think the organization kind of goes to him and says, hey, rein it in a little bit? Because now you've been on Matt Derry's show on Detroit Sports 105.1 the better part of 3 weeks. Each of those weeks have led to quotes that are really putting the organization in a tough spot. And Lions PR has been known to kind of tighten the ship and not let, like whenever, it's funny to kind of talk to reporters and talk to people who cover the Lions. They basically say that whenever the Lions start to get going about something, whoop, they nip it in the bud. They get like basically yanked aside and be like, okay, time's up. And they are, the Lions PR, give them credit, they're trying their best to put a spin on a lot of different things.
Right.
And Golden Tate is nowhere near that. He is a free-thinking, free-speaking kind of guy, like a Scott Van Pelt. But if you're the Lions, you rein him in?
I think what'll end up happening is Jim Caldwell will grab him and have a long conversation to him about what he feels is going on and what he sees. And I think that some of what he says will now be tempered when he goes on radio shows. So yes, I think there'll be some fallout from this.
Mm-hmm. Just in general, in terms of marketing, the radio station did the right thing, right? You got a guy that put out a quote like that. You start tweeting it and writing about what he said.
Yes.
And so that's what's interesting is that they do that knowing that Golden Tate. See, I don't know, because if you do that, then maybe Golden Tate stops talking. There's that fine line of like marketing the station and marketing the interview, and at the same time knowing that if you do that, Golden Tate might get in trouble.
Yeah, no,
it's fascinating stuff, right?
Yeah, I think they did the right thing. They have to do that, right? I mean, it's all about clicks and it's all about listens and it's all about you the viewer and you the listener and what you're bringing. So yeah, you have to, because dude, I was in Las Vegas and the moment that went, I got my phone lit up. I was in the middle of a set of cards and I had to sit there and walk away from the table so I could go sit there and find out what the hell was going on. So I knew what the hell to go back to and read later on in the day when I was back in my room. So, I mean, yeah, you have to do that. You have to.
All right, to wrap up our Lions venting, as we're going to do probably for the better part of this fall season of the DocNJock podcast.
Get ready. We got 13 more weeks of this BS.
Yeah, it's rough when your wife is getting GIFs, GIFs, and posting them on your Facebook wall. My wife found
was this the one where he fell over and nobody was there? That
one, and she also posted on my wall the tombstone, "Here lies the Detroit Lions 2015 season. Thanks for the lack of memories."
Yeah.
Right on my wall. I'm like, dang, honey. She's like, yeah. And she was right on it. She was like, this is boring. She was very accommodating. We watched the game, and she's like, this is horrible. 0-0 and into the second quarter. A lot of punts. Both offenses. Even Denver kind of stalled a little bit. So it was just a tough watch. So all we can ask for is on Monday night, pray to the football gods that he shines the light one time. The Pope was here, and now Doc and Jock are adding that extra boost of prayer. Please, football gods, give us a win. Let us enjoy 3 hours of football after a long weekend. It's Monday night. Don't let us get crushed. Or, on the other spectrum, if you decide to shine the light on Russell Wilson, because I know he's bowing down to you way more than Stafford or way more than any of the Lions, if you decide to shine the light on Seattle, let the Lions score 50 points and let Seattle score 60. Let it be an entertaining back and forth game, and let us enjoy the next 3 hours of football that we get to watch with our Detroit Lions. And if you can, and if Russell Wilson has been a sinner, you can strike him down and take him out of the game too. we will agree with that. So that's all we can ask for is pray to the football gods that something happens positively for our Lions. That's all we can do.
It's because you're the Pope of Hope. That's why you're the Pope of Hope.
I think that's all we're reduced to as fans is to pray. There's nothing else. There's nothing else to look to but to pray and say, please, let it be entertaining. And maybe, there's upsets every week in the NFL. Maybe a good game versus Seattle on the road turns into another 2. We end up 2-3, and we can talk about something different. But right now, we're staring at Ophir for a little bit of time. What are you going to do?
Dude, you remember when I was talking about them coming back on December 3rd and beating the Packers after the bye week?
Yeah.
What the hell was I smoking?
No, man.
Oh, my God.
Remember, you have to hope they win.
This is brutal.
They're not at the level where you can believe they're going to win week in and week out.
This is awful.
We'll be right back after this commercial break. Doc and Jock, episode 112, DetroitSportsPodcast.com.
Doc and Jock here for Fanatic U. If you're looking for some sweet sports swag and you love your Detroit teams, and I mean you really love your Detroit teams, you got to check out FanaticU.com. Check out FanaticU.com. Use promo code DSP, save 15% even off the clearance items, and get the coolest gear out there and rock your Red Wings shirt, rock your Lions shirt, rock your Old English D to the Tiger games, rock your Piston apparel. Wear it till the wheels fall off. Michigan State, you know what? They got it too. Check out Fanatic U. They have 6 locations all over Metro Detroit. Check them out, fanaticu.com.
Yeah, we coming now. Come on. Yeah, that's right. We put it down. It's like a family in here, just a little disabled. Putting it down, we lay them out on the table. Yeah. Who's in the house? The brothers in the house. Gotta turn it on out, let you know what we about. Kinda like Cain and Abel, a bit unstable. Don't be breaking the brain, break the whole damn table. How we shut it down, we give them a blast. Keep it real dope, just using their ass. That's right. Put it down.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for listening to Adam and I rant on the Doc and Jock podcast. It's a great way for us to get out our frustrations with our Detroit teams. We thank you for finding us on the Detroit Sports Nation website, on iTunes, on Stitcher, on our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. We thank you for your continued support. Thank you for clicking through the Amazon banner and making those purchases of all the great books out there being written around town and all your sporting needs. Thank you to our sponsors. We can't continue to roll out all these shows without your support, and we greatly appreciate it. And a special thanks to Fanatic U, who allowed me to have a great time, the Lions home opener, to allow me to give away 4 100% Detroit Joique Bell shirts. And then they put a caveat. If Joique Bell scored a touchdown, they would double the amount of prizes. So Joique Bell got in the end zone and made it fun, exciting. We gave away 8 100% Detroit t-shirts to fans, and we got over 400 tweets. I threw out some contests regarding, like, give me your favorite Lions player, your favorite Lions memory, and the interaction was unbelievable. So thank you to the fans who follow us at Detroit Podcast. We greatly appreciate it. Now it's time. I haven't taken my throne in a long time. I haven't been able to give my great sports opinions, and now ready. I'm ready.
Here we go. King of the couch, huh?
And what we call the doctor is in session.
But to be the man, you gotta beat the man. And I'm saying, woo, right here. I'm the man. Woo!
Got the king of the couch, the Pope of Hope. What else do we have for you? I don't know. The bastion of goodwill over here. The Doc's in session. All right, let's kick this bad babblary off here. What are your thoughts of U of M being ranked 22nd in the AP poll after this past weekend's beatdown of BYU?
Wow. Not only a beatdown, they thoroughly came into the game and handled BYU and surprised a lot of people. Michigan's ranked 22nd because 17 days away, I believe. I think, what is it, October 17th, Saturday, Michigan State in the big house. Makes it all that more exciting and that much more of a game that's going to have some prominence. I do believe that Michigan probably is going to enter that game with just one loss, and the state will be undefeated. Michigan has steadily improved, and if you're a fan of the Wolverines, then you got to be loving life, because that BYU game was a game under Brady Hoke that you would lose in the past. You identified weaknesses early in the season on the line in the running game, and they're slowly getting better. Davion Smith has found holes. He's getting touchdowns. You're being able to manage the game, and now you're making plays on the defense. My goodness. All you can say is Michigan is now well coached. They're buying into the system, and it's going to be a great game. No longer is it going to be just show up Michigan State and plow through Michigan. No, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to earn that victory in the trenches. Now, I still believe that Michigan State has the edge, but excuse time. A little bit nervous.
I love how you go excuse time.
Has to be. You have to. Josiah Price's injury. We got to figure that out, what's going on with that. Great tight end. Security blanket for Connor Cook. Injuries to the offensive line. Injuries to key positions at the linebacker and secondary for Michigan State. Every single game that happens, we're losing a key component. I'm a little bit nervous, but I still have confidence. But Michigan being ranked 22nd is great all around for the Big Ten, because once Michigan State defeats Michigan, then it'll be that much more special and that much more meaningful in their first game that Mark D'Antonio plays against Jim Harbaugh. So Michigan needs to come back. It makes for a much better rivalry because it's been stale the last couple years. I'm all about it.
Sounds like you're sitting there trying to hedge your bets. All right, we'll move on. I like how you flip-flop and
I didn't flip-flop.
You sit there and just
healthy.
You just
100% healthy Michigan State destroys Michigan.
Just you're
an injured.
I feel like your nutsack just crawls inside of you a little bit every time we do this.
Listen, a 100% healthy Spartan team crushes Michigan. A chinked up, injured Michigan State team, that's going to be tough. Harbaugh magic, man. You got to believe in it too.
All right, let's move on.
I'm starting to believe a little bit.
What intrigues you most about the Red Wings in this preseason?
So far, as we speak, 3-0-2 in the preseason. They've played well against good teams like Pittsburgh and the Bruins. I like the fact that even though early on the games don't go to overtime, they've still kind of shown us a little bit of what that 3-on-3 looks like. Oh my God, I like it.
I was going to ask you, you like that?
I like it a lot. What I've seen so far, I've been impressed with. But again, the question marks that carried over from last year are carrying over to this year. Injuries. Helm early on, shoulder issues. You got Franzen now you got to be a little bit careful of. The biggest question mark is going to be Datsuk. He's not there. The aging veterans. Franzen, Zetterberg, Datsuk. Right now, you got some of your free agent signings are kind of nicked up too. Green's got a little bit of a groin injury. So early on, you don't like to see this many injuries in the preseason, but I like what I see from the goaltending. Howard looked good, versus the Bruins. I like Mrazek. I like what I see in terms of the renewed energy that Blashill brings on, being the new guy behind the bench. So everything so far, I just missed hockey. It was just nice to turn on a game, watch the guy skate, pass. There's nothing like the sound of a greatly executed pass. And you start to see, when you kind of peek in, Blashill has taken some solid notes from Mike Babcock. It doesn't look all that different, but I just think that the players are going to respond a little bit better and have that extra 10% more motivation because Babcock's not in there just chewing their ass whenever they miss a play or make a key mistake. But so far, it's been great. 5 games in, haven't had a loss yet. Everything's been relatively smooth, but I'm a little bit concerned about the injuries, and I'm a little bit concerned about the fact that our key guys, Zetterberg and Datsuk, how are they they're going to have to produce. Zetterberg being 35 upcoming and Datsuk being 37. If you look at last year, Zetterberg kind of tailed off at the end of the year. And he had a solid regular season, but towards the end, the last 20 games, he was absent and nowhere to be found. And in the playoffs, too. Obviously, big-time goals for the Wings. You want them to get that 25th consecutive playoff spot. I don't think they'll have a problem with that, but so far, so good. I'm loving it. Hockey's back, baby. I'm looking forward to renewing our chats with friends of the podcast. I can't wait.
What was your initial reaction when you found out Dan Cleary was signed? And I know this goes back almost a month.
Yeah.
What was your initial reaction?
My initial reaction was, at Adam R. Strohs, what do you think about this? That was my first thought, was like, oh my God, Jock's going to be flipping his pants. I'm like, come on, dude. What does it take to kind of move on from a guy? But it just goes to show you that, hey, if you get in loyal with people, you're a good guy and you don't cause waves and cause problems. Cleary is one of those guys that's gotten in good with the organization. There's just guys like that who butt kiss or potentially have great relationships with Ken Holland, and it just makes it that much tougher to let him loose. I mean, he only played, less than 20 games. He had no points, no production. I mean, he's the Torrey Hunter of the team. He must be a locker room guy.
Fart in the mic. That was my initial reaction. Awful.
You got to look at the reasons. He's got to be a locker room guy, a gel guy. He's got to be a guy that the guys look to be like, hey,
you know what helps shit in the locker room?
What's that?
Winning. You know what he doesn't help contribute to?
Nothing.
Wins.
Nothing.
That's right. Let's move on. All right, where are we at here? All right, what are the realistic goals for the Pistons this season? What do you see happening there?
This is
third year under Stan Van Gundy.
This is second year.
So there you go. Year 2 under Stan Van Gundy. He's come out and said Andre Drummond could be the leader in the league in rebounds and in blocks.
He has to be.
So I mean, there's a little bit, plus they have their point guard with Reggie Jackson, who's come out and said that he wants to prove that he's worth every little bit of that $80 million contract he just signed. So what are your thoughts? What are some realistic goals that Piston fans can expect?
Realistic goals are to play meaningful games at the tail end of the season. A realistic goal is for the progression of the young players under Stan Van Gundy. 100%. Andre Drummond has to be a double-double guy consistently. He has to be the preeminent force on the block for the Detroit Pistons. A realistic goal is for Reggie Jackson to improve, to run this offense efficiently, to be able to make the correct choices in terms of his pass-shoot ratio. I fully expect that the Pistons are going to make the playoffs this year in the East. It's a realistic expectation.
Dude, when I was in Vegas, I should have put some money down for you.
Yeah, some future bets. I would have seen the odds. I was interested to see if they had that 100-1 odds for the Lions to make the Super Bowl. That was crazy. It might have went down where you were. Mm-hmm. But a realistic goal for the Pistons should be to make the playoffs and to compete in the first round. Stan Van Gundy, remember, as a coach that last year was the first year he did not make the playoffs with the team that he was coaching. So I do like what he's done. Little bit, though, if you have question marks, do you hitch your wagon to a guy like Reggie Jackson, a guy that was a backup towards the tail end of the season, a little bit inconsistent, but you saw flashes. I do believe that he earned that contract, and Stan Van Gundy is going to mold him to run the offense that he needs. But now you're going to have to see, realistically, this team has to shoot 45% from threes. If they do not, this offense could collapse rather quickly, and they can have a really disastrous season, because this is the new NBA. You got a strong guy in the middle at center, and you got guys that have to pass our three-point shooters the ball. Reggie Jackson's got to produce. You got to have Jody Meeks do some things. We're going to see what Brandon Jennings is going to do. You're going to have guys consistently make shots and not go through long spells without scoring, because this is the new NBA. A lot of teams are copying, and I do think that they're going to be able to have high-scoring games and be well and be efficient. But on the defensive end, Andre Drummond's got to have to handle his business, and now Greg Monroe's gone. He doesn't have that security blanket next to him. He doesn't have that excuse. He's got to be in there and become that preeminent force. And, by all accounts, this team is bonded. The crew is together. They're doing things correctly. They've bought into Stan Van Gundy's system. They're going to play hard night in and night out. I'm excited. I do believe they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think that, because remember, before that injury, he had them going. First year, he had them going. If things fall into place and they play good basketball, my prediction will be a first-round playoff win and a second-round exit. That'll be my prediction.
Under year 2 of Stan Van Gundy, do you see this being a little bit more of a level season? Because last year was a lot of streaks. It was a lot of long losing streaks, and then some long winning streaks, then long losing streaks, and then not quite as long winning streaks, and then long losing streaks. Do you see this being a little bit more even as the season goes on?
It better be. Yeah, ups and downs are tough, but with the Stan Van Gundy team, look, once they got rid of Josh Smith, this team took off.
Yeah,
so I expect them
totally different.
I would expect them to have a stretch of games where they win maybe six in a row, 7 in a row, and I don't think that they're going to have too many long losing streaks, because the team is poised with talent and guys that can shoot the ball. And when you have a young talent like Andre Drummond, if he can reach his potential, then defensively you got a strong team that can play well together and not let anyone hang on his own and get beat by his guy defensively. If you help out on the help defense and you're a strong unit and you believe in each other, then this defense can be great and they can reach all their goals. I'm fully expecting a playoff series win this year. Stan Van Gundy's a good coach. We're still evaluating a little bit how good a general manager he is, and we're going to start to see quickly, because he put a lot of money and resources into Reggie Jackson. And if it's the wrong pick, hey, now forget about it. And then the best part is now you get to see how Stan Van Gundy brings along a young talent. Stanley Johnson's a guy that could be, maybe not in his first year, box office, a guy that could be a superstar. Like we said, maybe not in his first year, taper expectations, but if he's a guy that can be a energy player, a guy that can, score a lot of points, find his own shot, hey, you got a guy that can, be that talker, be the next face of the franchise too, because, right now the Pistons are having a tough time selling tickets and putting butts in the seats. And if they get off to a hot start, the Palace will be rocking. I want the Palace to get rocking and get going. We need it. We deserve it. We've waited long enough. What's been since 2009? We haven't made the playoffs. Let's go. Let's do this. I think they have the talent to do it, and I'm great looking forward to it. And just today, hey, I like the Palace. They give me free stuff. Every year, if you're a Pistons MVP email member, they spam me all the time for tickets. Each and every game, they offer me 2 tickets to buy at a great price, whatever it may be. But every preseason for the last 2 years, they've just given me two free tickets to a game.
You're such a weirdo.
Free. If it's free, it's all about me, baby. You know it. I took it. They're just sitting right there.
Nice.
They, just to update my email and update my address, they give me 2 awful seats. But hey, take them. Print them up. Take them.
It would just be nice to see the Pistons have a solid young core, whether that be led by Reggie Jackson, Stanley Johnson, or Andre Drummond. If you could get those 3 players to sit there and buy in and really be productive with the Stan Van Gundy offense, that'd be a huge bonus this year. Great job.
I enjoyed it.
Awesome,
We missed it.
dude.
I missed it. I missed taking the throne and just letting it rip. I mean, I don't understand why Detroit's top talent only was 2 minutes. I wish they should extend it out and see if they can go 5.
Yeah,
I can go 12.
So you can go 15.
I'd go 15. Just turn on the mics. Let me see the yellow button and turn on the mics. I got the opinions,
Just
baby. I love
go.
doing it. We got to
Just
make
go.
sure to mix it in once in a while, a little bit more often. All right, stay with us after the break. We got to talk a little about the Tigers and review the week that was in the NFL and make some picks. Stay with us. Doc and Jock, episode 112, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. I want to tell everyone out there about DetroitSportsNation.com. They're a great website, and they've been very supportive to all the shows on the Detroit Sports Podcast Network. They host all the podcasts. They have great writers that cover all the Detroit teams, all the college teams. Check out their website and support those who support us. DetroitSportsNation.com. The collaboration has been excellent, and it's helped us to continue to grow and have great guests take phone calls. So our collaboration with the Detroit Sports Nation has really been successful, and support those who support us. DetroitSportsNation.com. Welcome back. Thank you for supporting those who support us. Thank you again to our sponsors, FanaticU.com and the Detroit Beard Collective. I love the fact that we got sponsors that support the cause, that actually support us week in and week out. They tweet us at our Twitter page, at Detroit Podcast. It's great to feel like you're getting that support from those who like your work and things like that. So, cuz, speaking of bad PR, Al Avila doesn't even wait till the end of the year to spring the news on us that Brad Ausmus is coming back in really one of the biggest swerves in Detroit sports history. I mean, everyone, you had Bernie Smilovitz on
legit
television. Journalists.
Legit guys who are connected.
Coming
who have
out.
Contacts.
I wrote that I felt like Bernie lied to the doc. He came out and interrupted a football game and said, hey, it's done.
This wasn't even Bernie's fault, though. I'm going to be honest with you. This stinks of old Detroit Tigers. Before the Detroit Tigers won, before Dave Dombrowski had a hand in anything. This is what this smells like. It smells like rotting feet and fish. This whole BS with Brad Ausmus coming back, you know,
Sure made you happy, right?
Yeah. Al Avila, obviously you can't believe anything he tells you anymore because for months now, he's like, everything's going to be evaluated. Everything will get taken care of at the end of the season. Such and such, XYZ, PDQ. We've got less than 5 games left in the season. This clown comes out and is like, oh, hey, don't worry, Brad's coming back. What happened to you evaluating the talent that was going on here? What's going on?
Tick.
You, sir, are either A, in way over your head, B, are not making calls, or C, have just the worst eye for talent ever. Brad Ausmus couldn't manage his way out of a paper bag with 4 arrows pointing to the top that said, out this way, dumbass. Yes, this is horrible. This stinks so bad. And you know what? The worst part of all of this is I just see how this organization is going to now handle all of its business going forward. This is going to be like the Randy Smith era Detroit Tigers when everything sucked and everything was handled out in the front of the media and was done in such a bad, poor way that the Tigers got an awful reputation. You know what? Dave Dombrowski did a great job when he came in here because he cleaned up that reputation of the Detroit Tigers, made them an organization that people wanted to go to and wanted to play for, and made them one of the jewels of the MLB. I see this just being tarnished. I see this. You know what it looks like? I envision in your mind, if you will, please, with me while I describe a nice diamond, and I do the diamond shape with my hands here, like Jay-Z putting up the dynasty sign. So you have a diamond, right? This diamond in the middle of it, it's got your Old English D, and it sparkles and it glistens and it's beautiful. Now imagine 4 dumpsters being strewn about in front of it with trash everywhere and a banana peel lopped on top of your diamond and just dirt smudges and poop stains and everything that smells awful with the green funk just coming up off of this diamond that was once a jewel of the league. That's what we have now. That's what we're going to get until Avila goes. I'm calling it now. Destruction, disaster. Your Tigers are now ruined for the next 5 years. Maybe it's a little bit of an overreaction, but I don't think so.
It was a bad season. Where's the accountability for this bad season? So basically, the organization has said all this mess is Dave Dombrowski's fault. Nothing is accountable to Brad Ausmus. He's coming back with the club option for 2017.
Which doesn't make any sense because Dombrowski's here for like 10 years and he had like 7 or 8 winning seasons. And mind you, the crap that he took over was absolute trash. How does Brad Ausmus get a pass on this?
Yeah, it should have been a combo deal. Or at least do a search. I mean, before the end of the season, before a week, you let Brad Ausmus come back. I can't believe it. And
Dude.
it's like a big FU to the fans because Al Avila owed it to us to go out there and look for better options. It's not to say that Brad's horrible. I mean, yes, you can argue.
It is to say Brad's horrible. Brad's horrible.
I'll
say it for you.
You can argue the bullpen was terrible, injuries, and he got you to the playoffs last year with 90 wins his first year. He regressed.
Ned Yost is coaching better than you. Ned Yost isn't even a good manager.
They got better talent.
Please.
Not that much better, but they got better talent.
Okay. So they have Hold on. You go ahead. You continue to talk. I'm going to do some quick math because math's my strong suit here. It's not. So just give me a second. I'm going to do some quick math for you. You go ahead. Make your point. I'm going to get ready to bash it to pieces.
Yeah. My point is thinking for the Tigers thing. I hate the move. I'm bummed out. Like I said, I haven't watched a meaningful Tigers game now since the beginning of August. I kind of tune them out. I watch 3 innings max. I read the paper. That's it. I don't want to watch this team coached by Brad Ausmus because of all the mistakes. They're not fundamentally sound. They don't use sabermetrics. They don't use sabermetrics appropriately on the field. In game is terrible. Everyone notices it. And then the biggest indictment is Bruce Rondon basically set up a hammock in the locker room and was chilling out, having a good old time. I don't know if he was having like cocktails delivered to him, and it wasn't just a recent thing. Players were talking to him like, "Hey man, shape up." Brad Ausmus should have been out there right away handling the business and been like, "Okay, you don't want to handle your business here. Trade deadline time. You're out next too. Get some pieces." No, you let it out that he's a lazy bum, a lazy fat slob that can't handle his business. You let that out there. Now you can't get him for nothing. We can't even publicly change the perception that he's lazy. Now you got a 100-mile-an-hour flamethrower to your name who's a lazy slob. Come on now. That's on your watch.
So Ned Yost is 17 games better than the Tigers?
Yeah.
Seriously? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Ned Yost in Kansas City, they're 17 games better than the Tigers.
The bullpen's lights out, better talent.
Here.
They get younger talent.
You're right. The bullpen is better, but you've got the best hitter in the league. At the start of the season, you had 2 Cy Young pitchers on this roster. Hey, come on. There is talent up and down this lineup, and Brad Ausmus can't get anything out of it. This guy's over there trying to squeeze basically a rock and get some lime juice. This guy's an idiot. He's a buffoon. There's no way, dude. There's no way. That locker room doesn't respect him. I don't like him. You don't like him. I don't think the front office likes him. I have no idea why he still has his job.
Here's the reason why. Because Al Avila...
I'm going to go pull JV maneuvers and drink till I black out.
Yeah, that's right. I think now JV may be the first one to actually understand what to do to deal with this.
Shoot. This is horrible, man. It makes me not even want to wear my old English D.
Al Avila he's not from the outside. He's from within the organization. He knows Brad Ausmus. So they have a rapport. They have a relationship.
I don't care.
So that's why he's not going to lop him off. But if you're Al Avila, it's a stupid move because you've been given a 5-year deal and you can go out and do whatever you want. If you've been given carte blanche to bring him back, go out there and see what's out there.
You're starting your first year. Okay, you're given a 5-year deal. You're starting your first year and a half essentially with this clown.
Wow.
It doesn't make any sense.
Wow.
It doesn't make any sense. This is horrible. But you could have fired him in the middle of the year. Try to salvage something, seeing what you had with other guys in your organization. And then sat there and did a complete 180, went out and got somebody. Word on the street was that they were in Minnesota sitting there conducting different types of organizational interviews and had Ron Gardenhire in there, and he was the #1 guy on their list, which blows my mind because I don't think he's that good of a manager. I don't think you think he's that good of a manager. But apparently he said yes. And then you go out and you said, yeah, you know what? We're going to stick with Brad. He's good enough.
Remember,
at least Ron Gardenhire knows how to put a damn batting lineup together.
So now you're reacting to the first news with this lineup. Now, Al Avila might have a checkbook that can have some zeros added to it. And if he's able to sign Johnny Cueto for $20 million a season, if he's able to maybe extend the
So we just end
pocketbook-
up in the same spot that Dave Dombrowski kind of left us in, where we've got an overinflated budget and we've got nothing in the minors.
So yes, you and I got the eye on the prize. You and I got the eye on the ring. Brad Ausmus, can he win a ring? No. But if you give him talent, like most managers, he can get you 90 wins in the playoffs. So they'll take that after this horrible season. But yeah, you and I are locked in because at this point in time, as we watch the Detroit teams, we're thinking globally, big time picture. Big time picture, Brad Ausmus is not winning a ring with the Detroit Tigers. He will not dance and celebrate. He might get you a playoff series win or two, but at the end of the day, if you're getting outmanaged and in-game tactically you're not strong, that will show up at the worst possible time. So to foreshadow, in a year from now in a playoff race, he might put in a pinch runner at the worst possible time. He may pull a starter at the worst possible time. He may not know, he might not set up the bench coaches to send the right guys home at the right times. There will be some mistakes that are made. He has to get better. But if he's going to be given great players, then he's going to be expected to win 90 games. But he's not going to, the organization is not going to make themselves look horrible by, giving him a terrible roster with a terrible bullpen.
They already look horrible.
And then blaming the manager.
They already look horrible.
They've given him the excuse.
The way that they've handled this entire situation from the moment they let Dave Dombrowski go, they've looked horrible.
Hey, they've laid out the narrative. This was not Brad Ausmus's fault. 2015 was Dave Dombrowski's fault. terrible bullpen, terrible roster. Sorry, Brad, you get a free year. Next year we'll hook you up and see what happens.
Awful.
Yeah,
I don't know who I want to fight more, the organization, Avila, or Brad Ausmus right now. I just want to mangle somebody.
That's Jock mangling the mic there.
Fight somebody right now.
Oh, that's horrible. You're lucky those mics are durable. You can take,
know.
you could actually dump it in water and they'll survive a rant from you. That's for
I
sure.
wouldn't do this with the old mics.
Oh man, it's terrible news, man. They're not going to get nowhere near 2.5 million fans next year. And then me and Vito talked about it on the Tigers Talk podcast. They start off with a brutal schedule. They play KC, Houston, New York early on, and then they play Pittsburgh. So early on, you're going to have to get off to a hot start. And unless the talent is significantly upgraded, I'm seeing a 500 start. And you're going to have some angry Lions fans, angry Tigers fans. Whew.
So the only thing we have to save us is this little bit of a bridge for the gap with Red Wings hockey and Pistons basketball. We need both of these to kind of save us.
Nope. We're going to pin our hopes on State winning the national title, baby.
Okay.
All day, every
Yeah.
day. All day, every day. Michigan State's going to win the national title, baby. And then
Go
then,
green.
Go green. And then
Snort white.
when State wins the title, we'll be on Hard Knocks. And then we can just be like, sure, Michigan, whatever you want, man. You guys are the best program of all time. Look at this nice, big, bold ring. National title. Say what? Connor Cook will be in. Jim Harbaugh could coach Connor Cook at the Lions.
He could. He could. That'd make you happy, wouldn't it?
That'd be great. Then Connor Cook can fulfill his talent, and we can actually have the perfect union of the Michigan head coach coaching the Lions with Connor Cook.
Oh,
That'd be like the perfect synergy.
that sounds like an awful threesome.
That doesn't sound good to you?
No, not at all.
Sounds luscious to me.
No, yes. As you're all lubed up over there.
So serious, do I have to check? You're being straight up square with me. My only pick that I got correct was the 14-point spread, New England. That was the only one I got right.
That was it.
What the hell did I pick? The other two.
You came close with. Hold on, let me pull it up here real quick. You had the Tennessee game, but
Didn't cover?
No, exactly. So hold on one second. Let me pull this up. All right, yeah. So you had the Colts minus 3.5. They ended up winning by 2.
Oh.
Yeah, Giants minus 4.5. Did you get that one right? You might have got that one right.
See, I know.
I might have boned you here on a pick. You definitely got the Lions wrong.
The Lions wrong for sure.
So it was really late.
Did the Giants win by more than 4?
I think they did. You know what? I might have messed that up. Hold on.
See, I knew I had to check your ass.
I might have messed that up. It was late last night when I was putting this together. I flew all night and I was pretty much done. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. You're right. I might have messed that up.
Oh, yeah, baby. New York Giants 32-21. You boned me.
All right, I did bone you. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. So you got 2 right. So you got the New England game and you got the Giants game right.
So you win with the Lions game. We're tied at 6.
We're tied at 6.
Good. All right.
6s.
I
Yeah,
feel
my
good.
bad about that, dude.
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
it's no worries. I was going to check anyway because I had a feeling.
I'm glad you did.
It only was because I was like, man, the only one I got right was the 14-pointer. But, of course, New England. Dude, you think they could go? This could be the year they don't lose a game?
New England?
New England?
I think Brady's pissed off enough that anything's possible at this point.
That'd be something else,
Yeah.
man. That'd be something else if they go.
It'd be
throughout the year.
interesting, man.
All right, so at this point in time in the NFL Pick'em Challenge, the Doc led up a lead because Adam was right.
That's when I make my move.
But let's see. Now we have to pull strategy. The Lions game with a plus 9.5 spread. Well, it'll be interesting to get to that point. But you have the honors.
I
You
do.
pick first. So we pick 3 games with the spread, and then the Lions for the bonus point. And at this point in time in the NFL Pick'em Challenge, I am tied with the Jock 6-6.
Knotted up at 6s.
Go
All
for
right.
it.
With my first pick in the 2015 Pick'em Challenge, or week, what is this, 4? I'm taking Carolina minus 3 at Tampa Bay. I like Cam Newton. I think he's coming into his own. I believe he's going to be something special. He's going to be what everybody talked about him being, that big quarterback who can run and throw the ball like nobody's business. I also like the Panthers' defense as well. I don't think the King Crab stands a chance, so I'm taking the Panthers, laying 3 in Tampa Bay.
Minnesota's going out on the road. I think they're going to play well. They've shown early on in the year that they can hang in games. I didn't like what Denver showed on tape versus the Lions. It might be one of those situations where maybe this game could be Peyton Manning's coming out party, but I'm going to be conservative and I'm going to take those 7 points. So with my first pick, Minnesota on the road, plus 7.
I seen that game. It scared me. It did scare me. All right. I am going with the Sunday night game. New Orleans Saints hosting the Dallas Cowboys. All right. You have 2 questions here at quarterback. You have Brandon Weeden. We don't know if Drew Brees is going to play. He says he is, but we're not sure. He's had that rotator cuff injury. I like the Saints at home. They're desperate. They need a win. You know, the Superdome's going to be charged and crazy. It's going to be hard for Weeden to come into that type of atmosphere and sit there and pull rank and get a W. So I'm taking the Saints in a pick 'em.
With my second pick, I'm a little bit concerned. Big Ben went down, but Baltimore looks like they got big-time struggles. So it's going to be Thursday night. Both teams are on short preparation. So I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers +3. I think they're going to do damage. I think Mike Vick is going to love this offense. It's going to be simple. Snap, hike, Le'Veon Bell. Left, Le'Veon Bell right, Le'Veon Bell left. Couple easy passes to Antonio Brown. He's been given the tools. He knows what to do. So I like Pittsburgh lighting up the Ravens. I think Michael Vick will have a nice night on national television. So I would think the score is going to be Pittsburgh 28, Baltimore 14.
You know what? I'm sticking with that same exact game. I like the Steelers at home here. Michael Vick's a question mark. But you know what's a bigger question mark? Everything that Baltimore has been doing is a giant question mark. I have no idea what's going on with that team. I've never seen a team self-destruct and implode this quickly, this poorly, except for your Detroit Lions. So I'm taking the Steelers +3.
All right. Now, Tampa Bay is rough. They're in games. They have weapons. But Carolina is coming into form. My wife was livid. She dropped Greg Olsen after a couple of dismal performances. She looks up and Henry, a guy that's a perennial two-time winner now of our league,
He's
picks him up.
struggling.
Struggling, but he picks him up, drops 24. And she's like, you got to be shitting me right now. Seriously, I gave up on a bum too early. I was like, honey, if you drop guys, you don't have to necessarily cut them. You could put them on your bench. But she saw, basically, I kind of gave away too much information. She beat me in our first matchup. I play her again. But I told her, I'm like, you had Kendall Wright. Match him up with Mariota. What? So now she learned. She's like, oh, I got to cut D'Angelo Williams. I got to do this and that. So she basically got a free win and some advice from her husband. So, damn. But it was a tough game, battled all the way through, and it didn't work out. I mean, Jamal Charles, a guy who I love on other leagues, came back and gave another guy a win barely to put him atop of our division fantasy-wise. But overall, though, I love Carolina. I love the highlight of Cam Newton flipping over, putting his legs in the end zone. That was a great touchdown. Made me jealous. Made me wish that Stafford could do something, could get in the end zone, passing, rushing, any kind of way. But Cam Newton, Superman, I love him. -3. I think it's going to be domination. Carolina going on the road, it's going to have a good old time. -3 against Tampa Bay.
This is the game you've all been waiting for.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is your Detroit Lions. There's Honolulu blue butter all over the place. It actually looks like a murder just happened. It's because that Motor City Kitty's dead. The Lions are done. Season's over. They're traveling to Seattle. You don't win in Seattle. You don't beat the 12th man.
Hell no.
You can't. You can't. I don't care that there's a 9.5-point lead. Seattle's going to job the Lions so hard. Lions haven't covered any games this season. Do you realize that? They're 0-3 versus the spread, bro. 0-3. You seen what Seattle did to the Bears, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I expect the same on Monday night. Cam Chancellor's back. That defense is rocking and rolling. Yeah, it's okay. Marshawn Lynch is 50-50 right now. He's a coin flip. That's all right. That's all right. There's enough going on there. We can't cover tight ends in the secondary or with those linebackers. Jimmy Graham's a monster. He loves to eat the Lions. Don't worry. Just wait. Watch what he does. He's going to have cornbread all over his lips because Seattle laying 9.5 is going to blow out your Detroit Lions on another primetime game to embarrass them and embarrass this fan base. Seattle Seahawks. 9.5.
No doubt about it. I mean, you can't be looking at it where we are right now with the offense, with the offensive woes. You have that extra day, but I just feel like the extra day of practice will make things worse. I would be more confident if it was a Sunday game than it is Monday night. Another day for Seattle's defense to prep for the Lions? Are you kidding me? They're not only going to know the plays as they happen, they're going to know them before. They're going to even know before they're called. I mean,
Richard Sherman's going to be like, oh, Golden Tate, you're coming right at me. You're coming right at me. I got you. Don't worry about it, bro.
You know what? Richard Sherman should start calling the Lions offensive plays. Should just know. Just call it for him. Now, I heard a funny joke. You know, in college, you know what they do? They have the backup quarterback hold up this big, huge sign, and they have these four pictures. You know, so for the Lions, you have like a Ford, you have a Chevy, you have like a blighted building, and you have like, you know, a Coney dog. And that'll be like a deep pass. You know, whatever you got to do. If you got to hold up like 4 signs and 4 pictures, if you hold one of my face and then you got a podcast mic and, you know, Ford Field and, you know, a pothole, you know, that'll be a run play. You know, something. You got to mix it up. Something has to be done with this offense. But another day of prep, that's the only reason why. Otherwise, I would have had the Lions with it, but no way. 37-17 Seattle. It's going to be loud, ruckus. Another example, we could have had Russell Wilson. Another example of a player that we could have had on our team outshining our player. So you're going to see it. You're going to see Seattle dominate. Russell Wilson's going to be like, oh, this is great. I get to play the Lions. Oh, yeah. Stafford's going to probably be, you know, He's going to be effective at first, and then he's going to tail off because he can't keep up. That's it. They're going to get worse as the game goes on. So if you have a chance, you better get it early in that first quarter. Get out to a 21-0 lead, couple turnovers, because if you don't, forget about it. Forget about it. Done. 37-17 Seattle. I agree.
Ooh, boy.
I mean, yeah, you can't.
We have one swing game this week. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
That's okay.
It was a good pod, bro.
It was good.
Good podcast. Now, we've put our money where our mouth is, too. We've sent 2 of our guys through to the Detroit Sports 105.1 Top Talent.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one of them gets picked, and maybe more. You never know. Maybe
Hopefully.
we can just have our name be said by everybody, you know?
Right.
It was good. This week I did some press for the podcast. I talked to Justin Rose on his webcast.
Yeah.
I talked to Theo Grid on Spite. I called up. I was just messaging him on Twitter, you know, because he's a guy that's very positive about the Lions, and I was like, I'm not positive. 0-5. And he's like, call up. So I dialed him up. So I was on his podcast giving my opinions about the Lions and the horrid offensive line. So just going to get my name out there. I'm just going to call everybody.
Just gonna let everybody know.
Let everybody know. If I got a free hour, I'm just going to call you up and tell everybody about the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
You obviously have a lot of free hours in your day.
Just a couple. Basically, I'm a true believer of taking a true hour for lunch and just soaking up all the sports knowledge that I can. And that involves both radio stations, websites, reading, you know, cell phone, Twitter, all that good stuff. Podcast planning. You got to cram in everything you can in an hour. But what are you going to do?
You're a busy man.
Busy man. For the Jock, Adam Strozinski, I am the Doc, John McAroon. You've been listening to another episode of the Doc and Jock Podcast, Detroit Sports Podcast Network. Thank you again. Every Thursday, download us.
Go Seahawks.
And all I can say is Detroit Sports Podcast scores.
I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me. They talk to me, they tell me things that I will do, they show me things I'll do to you, they talk to me.